Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Hazel Adams. Thank you for joining me today. Today's video is one of the ones I said I would record for you as part of the Great Shift series. And so today we'll talk about channeled information, channelers, how to distinguish and discern what channelers to listen to. We'll talk about whether any channeler is actually completely neutral or detached from the information he or she is channeling. And we'll talk about how you can make sure you aren't giving your personal empowerment away to the information that others are telling you is how it is. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to everyone for your comments and questions that you've been leaving, and for all the likes. I've had lots of likes on the videos, and thank you to my new subscribers. Also, thank you to my Patreon supporters. Your support means everything to me. It lets me know that someone is benefiting from these videos that I'm recording. So thank you. So first of all, as you all well know, channeled information can come through consciousness collectives. It can come through actual channeled entities, personalities, or it can be channeled information from the Akashic records. It can be just a stream of information about and around a subject that isn't necessarily coming from one collective or one entity. Remember, the universal mind, source, the God consciousness is literally infinite, and all information, all idea and information is held within that source consciousness. And so there are endless literal channels of information, streams of information that you can plug into at any time, depending on what you vibrate with, of course, and what you seek and what you need to know and understand. Just like tuning into the radio station. Out of all the radio stations that are available in your room, you tune into the one that's got the information that you need right now. So the information can be coming from our own higher self, a future self. It can be coming from our personal guides. It can be coming from the ascended masters, the archangels. It could be coming from, again, collectives of consciousness like the ninth dimensional Arcturians. It can be coming from the Egyptian gods or one of the Egyptian gods. But what's important is the channeler, is always related to the channel of information he or she is bringing through. I know there are plenty of people, including some channelers, who believe that they are completely detached, completely neutral, that they have nothing to do with any of the information coming through. That is not true. As my teacher, Seth, said in one of his books, that the channeler becomes part of the information. The channeler is part of the information. A channeler isn't going to even be open to receiving a stream of information or a stream of thought held by an entity if it doesn't in some way vibrate in a sympathetic manner with the channel themselves. So let me give you an example. I recently clicked on a YouTube. It was a tarot reader. There was something in her thumb that made me click on it to see what she had to say. And I didn't watch much of it, but in the beginning, she was talking about her complete neutrality. That, as so often happens, one of the viewers had questioned whether the reader is neutral. And she was saying how, why, yes, I'm completely neutral. Whatever the cards say, I tell you what the cards say, even if I don't like what they say. Well, that is absolutely true. She's not consciously trying to tell you what she thinks they ought to say, but she is interpreting what, in her perspective, the cards say. And she actually, her energy is actually pulling the cards that are coming out of the deck, even though she isn't consciously choosing the cards. If she does see something cataclysmic or catastrophic, or that the U.S. isn't going to survive or something like that, that may not be something she likes. That may not be a happy outcome in her mind, but it has to be an outcome that she in some way accepts as part of her reality, even though she doesn't like it. Just as many of us currently accept war as part of our reality. That's how it is. That's not how it is or has to be. But so we've been accepting war as part of our reality. Do we like it? No. Would we like to see it go away? Yes. Are we holding vibe to let it go away? Yes, we are. But we have accepted it as existing within our reality. So what I'm saying is that tarot reader, even though she may be seeing something she doesn't like or prefer, as Bashar puts it, in the cards, it's still something she can accept, or those cards wouldn't even come up. And then go on a step further. All energies, all cards, all symbols have different ways they can be interpreted. They mean different things. Fire can be cleansing. It can be a new start. It can be very destructive. It's the same symbol, but it can mean different things. And so saying, well, I know what the card means, and so I'm just telling you what the card is telling us. First of all, it wasn't completely neutral that card even came out. And her interpretation of it, though she thinks it's neutral, isn't, because there's going to be more than one way to interpret what that card could mean in the scheme of things. And she is going to interpret it in a way that is in vibration with what she can accept and sort of expects, even if it's something she really, really doesn't want to see and doesn't like. We're not going to tune into streams of information or entities or collectives that are totally out of sync with our own vibration. There has to be a sympathetic vibration of some sort there, again, whether we like it or not. So for instance, I would never be able to plug into a channel that says, oh, you're in grave danger. This is what's going to happen. There are evil forces out to get you. I would never be able to plug into that kind of information, because I know soul's level, vibrational level, I know that is a hallucination. I know it's illusion. I know it's a vibrational reality you can tune into if you want to. I'm nowhere near it. So I would never be able to pull that kind of information through. And if anything ever tried to come through that was like that, I'd know I was buying a lower level vibrational reality. I would know that immediately. And I mean, I haven't had that happen, but I'm just saying I couldn't even tune into that. To receive certain information, you have to have this sensor to receive it. The only way you can smell smells in the air is you have sensors in your nose that sense the spin of molecules in the air. If you don't have those sensors, essentially there is nothing to smell, because you have no receptacle for it. So the channel is always part of the information. And so a really earthy example here. Think of a lava flow and lava tubes if you've ever been to Hawaii. They have these caves that are lava tubes that you can walk through. And what they are literally is a lava flow that cooled and hardened on its outside and created its own shell, and then created a channel through which the molten lava could flow out to wherever, to the plain or to the sea. And so after that molten lava flowed through, it leaves this hard shell, this tunnel that's the lava tube. The tube is made of the same material as what flowed through it. It is the material that flowed through it. It was a self-creating shell. And so that's what I'm trying to get across. The channeler is absolutely related to the information that's being channeled, even if they think they're not. Now, oftentimes, the entities that are channeled are actually future selves of the person that's being channeled. Now, there is no such thing as time. We all know that, not only metaphysically, but physics has proven it. There is no such thing as time. There is only one infinite present. So what we're really talking about is a more evolved, expanded version of ourselves on our soul's path. And so, for instance, I have read that Bashar is a future, more evolved, expanded version of the Daryl Anka soul or entity. Seth said that he was a future of Jane Roberts, that the Jane personality was his past. And interestingly, he said, and she surprises me because she does things that my version of the Jane that I came from didn't do. And so this is a little off to the side, but it is just so interesting. So what was he talking about? To illustrate what he's getting at, just think of a sort of a mountain. It doesn't have to be a bumpy, craggy mountain. It can just be a smooth, conical mountain, with a top, one top. And think of that top as being like sort of the Seth level version or the Cryon level version, the really high up, advanced, expanded level version of consciousness. And of course, down lower on the mountain is the less evolved, less expanded versions of that consciousness. So if you think about starting at a point lower down on the mountain to get to the top, there are infinite numbers of pathways of experience that you could use to get there. You could zigzag up. You could kind of go around the mountain in a spiral to go up. You could go straight up. You could start off to the left and then take a sharp right and spiral. I mean, there are literally infinite pathways up there. Think of them as they're all probabilities of the past Jane personality, and then there's Seth at the top. And so what he's saying is that the pathway his past Jane took is not the exact same pathway that the Jane he's in touch with now is taking. So it's another probable version of the Jane personality that then expands and evolves to become eventually the Seth level, if that makes sense to you. So I just thought that was interesting. We all have multiple probable pasts, presents, and futures, and that's just true at every level. And the way Seth explained how he was able to come through and make contact with Jane is that there was a particular simpatico, like an opening. I almost want to use the word portal, where the two consciousnesses from so far away from each other as far as where they are in vibration, that there's a point at which they actually do connect and intersect, and he was able to meet her there and channel the information through her. But again, there had to be a simpatico. There had to be some relationship that she was in vibration with to even be able to channel that personality and that information through. On that note, I've noticed that at least most of the time that I've seen, the actual channeler resembles the channeled entity that they're bringing through. Daryl Anka is funny, smart, straightforward, practical, and the Bashar personality seems to come through that way. The personality Abraham seems to be very sort of warm and comforting and positive. And Esther seems like a very warm, comforting, positive kind of personality. Paul Selig's guides come through as a little bit, I'm going to almost use the word from my perspective, a little bit gruff sometimes, almost a little bit like they're wagging their finger and yelling at us a little bit sometimes, because we have been making war on each other and letting each other go hungry and, just such silliness. Sometimes there's sort of frustration with that comes through. And in one clip I saw on YouTube, they almost were kind of yelling and they said, "We love you because we have no choice." And so I find them, I love them, and I like the information they bring through. I find them a little gruff. Well, Paul Selig, I've noticed. I've attended a few of his free or pay what you can webinars, usually on a Sunday afternoon, once or twice or 3 times a year. But I mean, he's a very nice man. I feel him to be a very kind man, but he's not going to serve you, I don't believe, milk and cookies. He's not going to be all, "Oh, poor thing," and he's not like that. He gives you the information without judgment, but with not a whole lot of patience. Like one lady got through on the line to ask a question, and she asked something simple like, "Do you think it'll be a good idea for me to move to North Carolina?" And his answer right off the bat was along the lines of, "There are thousands of people that would like to get through on the line, and you're asking about whether to move to North Carolina. Well, no, it looks like it's okay to me if you move to North Carolina." But I mean, it was a little gruff. But what I'm saying is the way the guides present actually do feel in line with how Paul Selig presents. That's all I'm getting at. I adore Paul Selig. So that relates to the channel is actually part of the information, vibrates with the information, or they couldn't even access it. And so on that note, let's talk about what channelers to listen to and accept into your space, and how to discern and make decisions about if and how far to let that channeler and that information into your space. The divine universal consciousness, source consciousness, is everything, holds everything. There is nothing in any universe that exists outside of source consciousness. Therefore, even things that appear to be of the dark, they're not a force. The dark is not a force. It is a denial, a turning away from the source consciousness. Since the source consciousness creates and holds and is everything, nothing is separate from source consciousness. Therefore, ultimate truth is unity. Everything is of the same source consciousness. There's unity. There's infinite possibility. There's expansion. You can turn away from that, and within that create a substructure where there's limitation, contraction, fear, limited possibilities. And that's why you have the difference between love, the all, and fear, turning away from the all and going into limitation and contraction. Any channeled entity or a stream of information that's coming through that is talking about adversarialness, triumph over dark forces, victimhood, watch out, you might be under threat, you might be under attack. Even though they may mean very well, I'm going to just make this flat statement. Any channeler or channeled entity that is talking about being in a fight with dark forces and being under attack, but we're winning. Watch out because the dark forces are out to get you, but we'll protect you. Or this is the horrible cataclysm that's going to come. So beware. Anything like that, or anything or anyone that even imply that you are not the creator really of your experience, your reality, that somehow, well, this part of it you've got no choice in, is not vibrating at the highest possible level. Because at the highest possible level, we are source consciousness. We are not limited. The more we wake up, the more we know we're not limited and create new and differently, create a new different game to play in, create new different rules to experience. And when we know we're doing that, we really do become conscious co-creators, not only of our world, but of the universe. I mean, we know exactly who and what we are. That's that self-realization. That's remembering who and what we really are. So any entity or collective or stream of information that in any way makes you feel like you don't really have a choice completely, or that you've done something wrong, or you're bad, or this is the way it's going to go, so just prepare, or that you're in a fight with something, that should raise big red flags for you. You know in your soul's truth, in your heart, what feels true to that complete unconditional light, love, expansion. If it doesn't feel like it's coming from that light, love, expansion, infinite possibility and choice to create and experience your own personal reality, it's coming from a lower vibration. Now, that doesn't mean that some psychics don't sometimes fall a little bit into fear and get really angry at something that's going on. But they only fall into that for a minute and they know they fell into it. And so when I tune into anybody, and there's not very many I tune into, I'll tune in to see if they're picking up the same sort of impressions of the strongest probable ways forward in the collective we inhabit together, at least the way the energies are currently. I'll look to see if maybe they're picking up some of the stronger possibilities that I'm picking up, but I don't ever tune into anybody thinking that they're telling me what the possibilities are, or how it's going to be for me, or how it's going to be for my world. And neither should you. Always keep your self-empowerment. Seth said, every one of us has a Seth level higher self. Every one of us has our ascended master self. Every one of us is a multidimensional consciousness, and we're waking up to that. So that means every one of us can allow our consciousness to expand and connect with the highest possible information and sources of information. And it's always going to come back to, wait a minute, have I been drinking my own Kool-Aid? What are my own expectations and beliefs and desires? What am I essentially decreeing is going to be true in the reality I experience? Is that a truth or a belief? Well, it's never a truth. It's a belief. So is there another better, more freeing belief that I can accept? And there always is. So don't give your power away. Always pay attention, whether listening to channeled information or even more and more just in your life. Always pay attention to what feels harmonious, what feels like, yes, this is right. Not right versus wrong, but this is just right. It's a perfect vibrational match. This is harmonious with my vibe. Anything that makes you feel frightened or disempowered or scared or in a fight or threatened, again, big red flag, back off. And even, again, people that believe themselves to be neutral. Oh, I just read the star. I'm an astrologer. I just read the energies. Oh, I'm a tarot reader. I just read the tarot. Right, but depending on where you come from, you're going to interpret the astrology or the tarot cards that came up in the way that fits what you can accept, whether it's something you like or fear or not. That's why, as far as astrology, I particularly like Pam Gregory because she really is pretty darn neutral. She'll say this is an energy of upheaval being challenged by this. So these are the types, plural, of events that can come out of something like this. So just watch who you listen to and don't take what anybody says as gospel, like this is just how it is. Any true teacher, any true high vibe channeled personality or collective is always going to bring the creative empowerment back to you. They're always going to bring the power back to you. They're always going to affirm your blessedness, your inherent goodness, that you are divine consciousness, that you are source. And wherever you are right now is exactly fine and perfect, because ultimately everything is exactly fine and perfect. If they're saying anything else, they're coming from a lower vibe. Just never give your power away. You are the ultimate decider of your truth. You are blessed. You are inherently good. You are love and light. And you don't have to accept anything into your reality that doesn't feel true to that vibration. So I hope something I said today was helpful to you. I will be doing a live spirit talk this Sunday, June 8th, 2025. I do these via Zoom at noon Eastern. And really, they're very much sort of where I talk about something as I would on one of these YouTubes, only they're interactive and we do question answer. People attend live. So if you'd like to join us for that, I'll leave a link below for you to register or go to my Patreon page. Maybe I'll see you there. But in any case, have a most magical day. Blessings.